Hello. Last time I was here, yesterday, I wrote the wrong number on the thing, which I meant to fix that, but I didn't. So now I'm going to have to fix it after this video, but yeah, so ridiculous. Anyway, we're in Genesis. We just finished 1 John chapter 4. That's a good one. Has one of my favorite verses there. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear. Because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. Thank God. Perfect love casteth out fear. Thank God. So we're back in Genesis. We're talking about these three sons of Noah, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. And there's indicators that how things have played out. I think Genesis that's what God is subtly communicating to you in these genealogies. This is all introductory stuff about these different groups of people and how they end up interacting with the Israelites in positive and negative ways. As you'll see later, that most of the adversaries to the Israelites come from the Ham group of people. So anyway, Philistim. Yeah, that's what we left off with last time. I was saying to Tiffany, I don't think I said it in front of this camera. I was saying to Tiffany yesterday, I started talking about, maybe I can't say it in front of this camera, but Chris and I like to have conversations. He likes to bring up that word Philistim, but that's the old word, Philistine. The modern word is Palestine. And they feel that they have the right to the land. Now, prophetically and biblically speaking, the Jewish people, it's their land. God gave it to them. But, and God promised them that land, and I think God will get them in that land no matter what. But if you want to use modern circumstances for how they got back the land, you have to look to World War I and World War II, right? And the circumstances surrounding them getting the land back, are they manufactured or are they from God? That's the devastating, crazy, scary thing about that. And that's what makes me have a neutral standpoint regarding both sides of that conflict. Now, of course, I'm going to stand with God. I'm going to stand with the Bible. But I don't like a bunch of Satanists, that's what's scary about it, is the circumstances with how they got the land back. There's a lot of very powerful backroom type stuff going on, which leads you to question, is them getting is them getting the land back, is that prophecy Or is it something manufactured, a fake prophecy? Now, if they lost the land now with this election a week from Tuesday, and let's say something happens to where they lose the land, I think God is going to get them the land back, you know. But God could have used those circumstances to fulfill prophecy, yes. So it could be either way. But I also don't blindly root for Israel. For Israel, is it Israel or is it Israel? You know what I mean? So I'm kind of neutral on that. I think most people, that's what I said to Tiffany, that most, if you say that in a church, they'll throw you out right away. You're anti-Israel? Oh, I'm not anti-Israel. I'm not anti-Palestinian either. I mean, I know why they want the land, because circumstances of them getting the land may not have been from God. That's what's questionable about it, you know, about World War I and World War II. Germany had won World War I, and then you buy the United States, and at the cost of the United States, the price is Israel. And then we won World War I, and yeah. Anyway, you get all that from one word, Philistim, in verse 14 of chapter 10. Something to think about. I told that to Tiffany, and she looked at me like I was crazy. So most people do. But anyway, am I anti-Israel? Am I anti? No, I'm pro God and pro Bible. And I know you're going to respond to me and say, well, the Bible clearly says that you should be rooting for Israel. So, but is that Israel there right now? You know, do they worship God? Are they with God? Or are they with Satan? You know, is there a lot of manipulation going on that doesn't make sense? I'm sure there are born again Jews in Israel right now, praise God. But are there a bunch of Jewish people there right now that hate God? And they're doing things to innocent people that's very bad, you know? That's what makes me question it. That's what makes it so difficult. But I don't blindly just blanket statement. I don't agree with that. I like to think about it a little more. Well, you're against the Bible then if you think. All right. So anyway, we're looking at the people that are adversarial here to the Israelites, and you're going to see that as you read through the Bible, that most of these groups of people are against the Israelites and are constantly fighting them, or there's some conflict, or the Israelites are captured by them, the Egyptians. Anyway, we were leaving off with that, so 10:6. And the sons of Ham, Cush and Mizraim and Put and Canaan. Okay. Let's read the note. The list from 6 through 20 are Ham's descendants. Cush is Ethiopia. Mizraim is Egypt, and Put is Libya. Sheba is Arabia. Dedan is by the Persian Gulf. Anamim is northwest Egypt. I feel like that's close to Anakim or Anunnaki. No, maybe no, it's probably nothing having to do with that. Anamim is northwest Egypt. Lehabim is western Egypt. Naphtuhim is central Egypt. Pathrusim is upper Egypt. And Kasluhim is an unidentified part of Egypt. Lots of Egypt there. And Egypt, if you remember, as you get to the end of Genesis, Egypt is the most powerful spot on, I mean, in my opinion, they're pretty powerful there now, you know, once that famine happens and everybody gets taken over by Egypt then, right? So Egypt's pretty powerful there at the end of Genesis, and they have enslaved the Israelites. So then you have the exciting Exodus as the next book in the Bible with Moses. But the Egyptians are their slave rulers of the Israelites at that time. So it's kind of setting it all up. And then you can see the later foreshadowings of that later in the Bible. Egypt, praise God, I think there are prophetic, I think that's in Isaiah, is there, and probably in Revelation they're talking about Egypt being born again. So seems like the Israelites had some positive effect on the Egyptians. Are the Egyptians going to get born again before the Israelites? Well, I don't know. Okay. Unidentified part of Egypt. Rama is southeast Arabia. Sabta is Arabia. And Havilah are the Africans. Okay. These are the present-day Muslims. These are what we call the Mohammedans, who since the days of Genesis and Christ, and even the Council of Nicaea, conquered other countries by rape, pillage, burning, torture, mutilation, and decapitation, the inhabitants of Indonesia, Malaysia, Palestine, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Libya, Algeria, Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Morocco, Syria, Lebanon, Angola, and at one time, Crete, Cyprus, Sicily, Spain, and France. You can also think of Arabia. You can also think of the Abraham's other son, right? That he had through, what's her name? Hagar. You had, man, what is his name? But he's the main descendant of the Arabians. And JT was telling me that Esau means red all over, and that Esau is the main descendant of the Romans, which Rome oppresses Israel. So that's a whole other thing. So, but why can't I think of Hagar's son's name? Ishmael, right? That's the Arabians. And so you see the Arabians attacking Israel even today. You know, that's the biggest conflict on the face of the planet. They want that land, like I was saying earlier. But it's sad. Never mind. Here's the note continues. To study how broad the curse on Canaan went. Wow. how broad the curse. Went among the sons, grandsons, and great sons of Ham. The best thing to study is history, any history. Yeah, I agree. What happened to those different groups of people? How have they been as successful as other nations, or is there something to that? Something to think about. Okay, it continues. This is something I wanted to talk about. 10:8. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. What does that mean? Began to be a mighty one. Does it say that about anybody else? You know? Or is that a reference to giant DNA or something? You know? Let's see what the note says. The word Nimrod means rebel or panther, a black leopard, from which the name Panzer Division comes. Nimrod is the 13th from Adam. See comments under Genesis 4:13 and obtain Black is Beautiful from the Bible Baptist Bookstore. There's a lot to say about him. Yeah, you probably should buy his book. Charles has got it downstairs. Panzer Division. Oh, I didn't know that. He's the 13th from Adam. I think there's prophecy indicating that the Antichrist will be a Nimrod type person. And I think Nebuchadnezzar, is it Nebuchadnezzar? Yeah, I think that's the same area. And then Saddam Hussein. And then X-Men. Nimrod! No. I think he was like the first big king at that time. How did he become mighty? There's, if you read the book of Enoch, and I know that's not Bible, so I don't put weight to it or anything, but in that book, I think Nimrod obtains the somehow he obtains the original clothing of Adam and Eve. 13th from Adam, and maybe that's how he becomes mighty hunter. I think it describes the reason why Esau had no respect for his birthright. Like, why does he need that bowl of food so quick? It says that Esau beheaded Nimrod. I don't know. And he stole that clothing. But I don't know, that's all kind of crazy stuff. But it says he began to be a mighty one in the earth. Maybe that just means that he was powerful, he was formidable, he became a big king if he's going to be the king of the Tower of Babel, right? World's first dictator, probably. he's got to be pretty powerful. Um, so does it mean, some kind of supernatural power? Could be persuasion too. Hunter of men, could it be more from the perspective of persuasion, manipulation, politician? I just find Barack Obama to be so persuasive. Sorry. I don't understand how people find Barack Obama persuasive, but I don't know. Have you ever been manipulated by somebody and you couldn't understand it? I have. The more I hone my skills, though, the less that becomes possible. But I've been manipulated by people before, like a quick change artist. Part of their ability to manipulate you is because of persuasion. And they're using it for very evil means, but that's happened to me. I remember at Walmart, I got manipulated by a guy because I was young. I was only like 24, 23, 24 probably, at night, and some guy comes up to me and manipulates me, and I didn't know what was going on. Nobody was watching me, and he got some money from me, and I couldn't explain it. I was like, how the hell did that happen? And I was so devastated. I didn't even sleep that night for a couple nights because I was so angry. So maybe it has to do with persuasion. Maybe that clothing has some supernatural power with persuasion. How do big dictators throughout history become as powerful as they are? Is it because they find that clothing? Is there something to that artifact, maybe? That's all speculation on my part. I'm just throwing out ideas how he is mighty. Is he mighty because he's good at shooting a bow, or is he mighty because he's a very persuasive, powerful king that persuades a bunch of people to get together and build this ziggurat? How could you persuade a bunch of people to walk up a stairway with a brick, We must keep building to the Stargate up there, and we'll kill God. Absurd. But is there any truth to what I'm saying? Could be, but maybe we should just stick to what it says for now and realize that this guy prophetically is a big deal, but we should keep an open mind about how is he mighty? What does it mean? And he does have, let's read this last note and then I'll stop. I'm sorry. Okay, verse 10. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech and Akkad. What is his name? I think that's another name for Nimrod, is that name. I can't think of it. I think it's a Persian name. And that's all in the same area. And Akkad and Calneh. Blankety blank of Akkad. What is his name? In the land of Shinar. Shinar. That's it. That's it. That's the place right there. Maybe I'm getting this from some of that book. I think that was, what was his name? Lake? Michael Lake? The Shinar Directive? Is that what it was called? I don't know. It's interesting stuff, though. Okay, here's the note on verse 10. 10 is the Gentile number. Noah was the 10th from Adam, and his genealogy is given in Genesis 10. The first kingdom of the earth is the last one on this earth. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel. That is Babylon the Great in Revelation 17. Revelation 17 with 10 kings. So maybe that's indicative of this first city, Babel, is a picture of the last city, and maybe it's an indicator of the vanity of man and pride of man and in defiance of God, you know, because God smashes this and disperses everybody. Everybody go home. Nothing to see here. This big tower you guys are building is... You guys are jumping the gun on this, all right? We got another 4,000 years. Why don't you guys go start a life and, you know, make your families and stuff? Spread out. But everybody wants to get together and build this ziggurat all the way to the top. That's what... Everybody go home. All right, I'm done. Go home.